So there is a lot of discussion on future of the IMF program, given that the delegation led by Peter Brewer, the senior most person in charge of Sri Lanka, was here along with Sarwat Jahan, who is the head of the program in Colombo, had meetings with the government and ourselves and I don't know who else politically. And they've sort of issued a statement at the end of the program that, look, gains need to be protected going forward. And they refer to the current situation as the knife's edge. The recovery is at a critical juncture, right? That's because the release of the fourth tranche is dependent upon the assessment that was to happen in September. Now, given the elections in September, that obviously is not possible. So they were talking to both the government and ourselves, and like I said, I don't know to who else in the political opposition, about what might be the course of action given the election on 21 September. They were wondering whether the taxes for 2025 could be sort of agreed upon now and then sort of fix the revenue side for 2025. Now, that is obviously not possible given, the mandate of the people. We don't really know who's going to win, even though we expect to win ourselves. And if we do, then how are we going to make adjustments to the tax structure? And we appreciate the fact that we need to sort of work within an envelope, and that while we may want to make adjustments in, say, marginal tax rates for pay as you earn or on personal income tax, or even change the slabs, which is what we want to do. I have sort of been talking about it for a long time, because we believe at SJB that if we can hold the slab for 24, between 18 and 24, so that most people fall within that slab, either 18 or 24. And then we can move to 30, 36 for those who make sort of really high incomes. Then we can bring in some sort of equity in this whole process. Because if you look at which point 24 kicks in, 30 kicks in, 36 kicks in sort of regional competitor countries, or even the countries where a lot of our folk are migrating into, you see that there is a certain disposable income in hand before you start paying really high marginal rates of tax. So what has happened to the middle class is that, we are all used to a particular way of living. There's a car, there is a housing loan, lease payments need to be made, kids are in either school or perhaps even overseas in some cases. So how do you sort of maintain your lifestyle has become the problem, right? So it could be a middle management person, it could even be a senior management person, it could be a professor at university, it could be a doctor, it could be an engineer, architect, lawyer, all these people. It's also those young people coming into the workforce. A moment if they are said, look, you're going to get hammered at 36% of the highest marginal bracket at a fairly low level of income, obviously that's going to hurt you. So that's really where we are focusing our attention to see whether, what kind of balance we can bring in. So the way we are looking at it, if we are able to sort of mitigate the burden almost, if it were, then those guys who are making a hell of a lot of money, right, millions of rupees a month, may have to pay more than what they are paying now on the margin. And perhaps it could be considered a surcharge on a temporary basis. But we explained to the IMF, look, we are not happy with the exact structure that the government has agreed with them, right? So then the conversation is about corporate income taxes, etc., etc. I'm not going to go into all of that, but certainly we did agree that the 25 budget can be sort of passed now and approved in Parliament, which is going to sort of tie the hands of the incoming government. But we did agree. Like I said, we'll work within the targets that the broad targets of revenue to GDP, and we have our own plans to increase the revenue outside of just taxing the people who are being taxed now. So we explained to them what our plan is with the digital public infrastructure, how we're going to, make sure that the fellow selling the family on the road to the guy who is drawing an architectural plan for the house are both caught up in this tax net, so that there is some equity. Because I'll tell you what's happening. People whose taxes are being sort of yanked off at the office before it goes to the bank based on pay as you earn, the government is raking in rupees way more than what they expected to. But those who are voluntarily expected to pay personal income tax, they are not even able to collect 25% of the target. So people must also take sort of the responsibility they have as citizens into heart and say, look, you can't just only complain, but also sort of perform your duty as a citizen. So all those things said, the challenge ahead of us is quite enormous, and nobody needs to be shy to accept that. But we did tell the IMF, look, we appreciate the problem. We are the people who first said to the government at the time to go to the IMF. We never opposed the IMF. We didn't vote against the IMF program. So they have that respect towards us, and there's a mutual understanding between the IMF and us. And they perhaps didn't agree with everything we said, but Sajid very categorically stated 2 words is our game ahead, that is reform with relief. So based on those 2 things, we told them we will have to amend the program going ahead.